Good afternoon. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Fire Commission. Today is February 17th, 2026. The time is 3:01. Roll call. We have with us today Commissioners Oscar Destruge, Howard Dixon, Rabbi Ida Paskind, Commissioner Steve Ferguson, and myself, Mayor Barbara Smith. Moving on to the next item is the acceptance of the minutes of the special meeting of January 20th, 2026. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved. All in favor? Are there any changes, corrections? Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Corrections, deletions, omissions? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Okay, opposed, abstentions. All right, that passes unanimously. And now public participation is next. Is there anyone who would like to speak during public participation? Please raise your hand. I don't see anyone.
There are none, Madam Mayor.
Yes, okay. So we will move on to reports. First is the fire chief's report. Chief McCabe.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, commissioners, everyone. Under the
afternoon.
budget report, we are now 7 months into the fiscal year. Under the salaries account, we are currently at 56.85% utilization, and this places us 1.48% under budget, or approximately $197,000 below projections at this point in the fiscal year. The overtime account is at 59.21%. This is actually 0.87% over target. However, as I mentioned last month, we're beginning to see overtime expenses level off after the hiring of 7 firefighters last November to fill vacancies. So I assume that will continue to move in that direction. In terms of overall expenditures, we're approximately 2.25% over where we would ideally like to be this point in the fiscal year. But as I said last month, this is primarily due to the department absorbing 2 contractual salary increases, fiscal years 24-25 and 25-26, including the retroactive compensation within this year's budget. So that took a big chunk out of the budget in the beginning of the year. We'll continue to monitor the expenditures closely, and we'll make adjustments where possible. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions from anyone?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on to Assistant Fire Chief of Administration.
Good afternoon, Mayor Smith.
Good afternoon.
Commissioners. Just a couple of quick updates on status updates on projects. Our Station 4 building renovation is moving forward, progressing quite nicely. The final drawings, we had a couple minor changes. Final drawing should be completed very soon. When I get the final drawings, I'm going to include them in one of the. I'll include them as an attachment so everybody can view them when I get them. Hopefully next month. Project's still on schedule. We're looking at. We're going to get a full project. We're looking at. I'd say probably around August or something we'd like to start. You should be seeing RFPs going out for the contracts in the next couple months. So
Great.
Really good. Yeah, it's great. So it's going very well. Very pleased. Citywide, we're looking at the one thing we're proposing. We requested for next year is apparatus exhaust capture system upgrade. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's basically the exhaust system that we hook up to the truck's exhaust system that expels everything out and captures all the exhaust, so it's not in the living environment. That system is it's been repaired for years, but the original parts are over 25 years old. So we're going to be we're requesting to replace that system citywide, which also includes installing augmenting the system. Some of the bays actually never got them, so this will allow us to keep some of the spare and auxiliary equipment in the stations where they're needed. So that's one of our major requests that we're working on. I've working on that system. The request also includes it's a filter system basically for the gear locker rooms that don't have proper ventilation. And these systems will allow to filter the gear locker rooms as well. Some of the stations have some ventilation within them. The new station is actually getting built within. We had that discussion last week. So, and I was explaining to them. So that's what that's all about, is the whole exhaust capture system, including the gear locker room. As far as the fires, we met with Guardian last week, 2 weeks ago, about the facilities management transition, and they're including, as I'm sure you've seen already, they're including line items for all the stations. This is great. They're finally we'll be separate for all the stations. It's this is going to be great. I'm going to be meeting, really take them around. We're going to do site visits as the weather gets a little bit better, so we can see the site, and I'm going to show them pretty much all the work that's been performed so far, the work that we had planned to perform, and anything that we deem needed in the future. So we're really going to develop a long-term plan, is what I spoke to Neil Rennie about it. So I'm actually preparing right now. I just came in actually a couple weeks ago, is for all the fire protection systems too. I guess the city's going out to bid, and I'm gonna go and include all of that into the system too. I have to go and we got to count detectors and count everything, but we're going to put that in the bid as well to get everything into one package for everybody.
Yeah, glad to see that moving forward. We've been talking about it for a couple of years now on the council. So yeah, and I just think it's going to make for much better efficiency.
Yeah.
And yeah. Great.
No, I agree. You and I've talked about it extensively. I know it's definitely long needed, and I think it's gonna eventually be more efficient and save the city money in the long run. It's all under one package. It's a lot easier for the firefighters, because they'll have one number to call when they need to get things repaired. It's
always a good thing.
Yeah, it's always been like that. Different stations had some different vendors, and it was a little bit difficult to keep it organized. So we're looking forward to that. I'll take any questions.
Questions from anyone? Comments?
No questions.
Okay.
Great work. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to Assistant Fire Chief of Operations.
Good afternoon, Mayor Smith, Fire
Good
Commission.
afternoon.
Thanks again for supporting Station 4. I've seen a quick glimpse of the preliminary drawings. They're good. I can't wait for Mark
Yeah,
to
it's exciting.
piece them as they finalize. So it's an important piece to set us up operationally and better serving the city. So we're excited about that. Thank you guys for all the support. Just to recap, incidents for January, we had about, I think it was 774 incidents for the month of January, which averaged out to 25 calls per day, slightly above average. Little bit of a busier winter for us here, which we'll get into in some of the notable incidents that had occurred. But I'll start with fire apparatus, just where we're at with that. We have 2 new engines that are really in the final design phases. Once we sign off on the final drawings, they'll go to build, which will occur from the spring to the summer into the fall. And hopefully by the end of the fall, we'll have 2 new fire engines, which will be ready to go in service. What they'll do is they'll replace our 2007 and 2009 pumpers that are at Station 3 and Station 5. Those are nearing 20 years old. They've had a good service life. We'll be able to put those into spare for a little while and just help us to have a better fleet in service. So all's going well with that. And we'll be set up with our engines nicely. We've also put in for a capital purchase should it get funded for another engine for next capital year, which will help us to really have, that would then put a 2015 into service, which is ideal to have your spare apparatus be at 10 years. So if all goes according to plan, our pumpers will be where we hope they could be. We are in the initial spec phases of a new ladder truck, which will replace our truck 1 that's currently a 2010 apparatus. The way the purchasing process goes is, although we're in the initial spec phases, not anything from the city's end, just from manufacturer's end, it's about 4 years out from the time that we secure a contract. So it does take significant time. Just to recap, those engines, we actually but they were a capital purchase from 2022. So just the way the build process is now, it's quite lengthy. So we try to get ahead of the purchases. The new rescue company, new rescue apparatus is in the build phase, and that should actually be ready to go early next year, next calendar year, 2027. And the last piece of apparatus to talk about is our high water vehicle, which is it's a vehicle that can drive about 4 to 5 feet off of the ground and evacuate residents in the event of a coastal flooding. Our plan is that we do have a existing vehicle that we need to refurb. We need to kind of bring up the safety standards on it, bring in some modern PPE to it. And it's currently stored at our apparatus maintenance facility on the other side of the highway. And our goal is to house it in Station 5 in South Norwalk, where most of our areas that are prone to flooding exist. So our company, Engine 5, will kind of work in tandem with this high water apparatus. Should there be a flood, they can immediately respond, get to people's houses, get to any vehicles that are stranded in water, and remove those people safely. So that's all going forward well. Operations over the past month, January, just a lot of cold weather going on. Training that occurred for that, as well as incidents that occurred with cold weather. I'm sure you guys have all heard of the frozen broken pipes going on. It kept us quite busy there. We did, which I'm sure Deputy Chief Gagnon will get into, but we did our annual EMS recertifications, which takes each member takes 5 days to go through, and it takes about a month and a half to complete. So that's been ongoing, as well as some training on our new SCBA, our breathing apparatus that's going into service shortly. Notable incidents that have occurred. We responded to 2 mutual aid house fires, one in the town of Westport, one in the town of New Canaan. We had a few fires in the city. One West Rocks Road was a chimney fire. It was quickly extinguished. The fire didn't spread much beyond the chimney, just into some of the walls on the second floor. The crews did a good job preventing the spread and much of the damage that could have occurred. We also had an attached garage fire, a garage that's directly attached to the house and has an interior door that separates the garage from the house. Was pretty well involved on arrival on East Rocks Road, and the companies working that day did a good job of preventing the spread through the inside of the house, as well as cutting open the garage doors to access the garage safely and extinguish that fire before it could spread, be more significant damage. The last notable incident that occurred, I'm sure everyone has heard about, the Swan rescue on. Yeah, that was a good
Twice, right?
that was a good example of twice. Yes, went back out there again. So it's a good example of putting our equipment to use and our systems to use, and all the training that we have done for that type of rescue that can occur with an animal or a human, and just having a well-coordinated plan that was done safely, helping a wild animal that couldn't help themselves, and some really good really feel good press that occurred because of that. So we're proud of the guys for how they handled it that day. And who would have thought that the Swan or similar Swan would have gotten into the same situation not very long after that. But yeah, we're there to help in any way. So that really concludes the operational report. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions from the commissioners or comments?
No questions. Actually, to a degree, a question. That Swan recovery was outstanding, of course, and I understand so went with that. However, it seems like you read almost daily in today's environment where someone has fallen through the ice. And to me, one of the more significant ones was the twin children that fell through the ice and the mother could not rescue them. Do we have any present method by which we announce conditions that are negative towards anyone proceeding into an icy environment?
We should improve on that. Our messaging as far as what's we're there, like as an example would be, don't go get the Swan because the fire department will go get the Swan. We'll get the animal. So, that's our thought. And if a question ever arises why we want to go help an animal, well, it could be somebody's dog, it could be, somebody's pet, it could be a swan that someone feeds every single day and they might be compelled to go in and help it. But, we have the practices, the equipment, the training, the experience to be able to handle those safely. So we always encourage people to call the fire department to make those rescues and contact us with any questions. But ice is unpredictable. Like, you really don't know. That's why, although that ice was very solid, our crew still had on full cold weather gear. They were tethered to a rope system should they have fallen in that they can get retrieved or, they can be located. So you have to have a redundancy of safety just to get out into the ice. So that's one thing that, we encourage people, which we could, improve with our messaging, to just not go out on the ice at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice
Yeah,
recovery.
that's a really good question, Commissioner Dixon. I live near Woods Pond where people do a lot of ice skating in the wintertime. And sometimes I wonder, like, how do you know that it's frozen? How do you know that it continues to be frozen? Because there's a lot of teams out there. So it's a great thing for the community, but a little frightening sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but really great work. I actually have one question. In terms of, because we had that rash of broken pipes due to the cold weather, do you think there were other factors in those? I mean, pipes that had gotten old or exposed. I know we haven't had this kind of cold in a while, but it did seem like quite a few all at once.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, in certain cases, lack of maintenance. But
Mhm.
primarily a major source of this was just such a deep cold that
Mhm.
continued for days on days on days that, some newer construction buildings that were never installed with enough insulation, or, pipes were too close to the exterior walls,
Mhm.
got cold enough where they actually froze. And then as the sun hits them, it warms back up, that those create leaks and problems. But there's also, lack of maintenance that happens as well in some instances.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the fire marshal's report.
Good afternoon again, Mrs. Mayor, Commissioners. The Fire Marshal's Office summary of the month of January. The total number of inspections for the month were 244 properties with a total of 2,387 units. We had 4 requests and evaluations for smoke detectors installations. During the month, we held 5 fire and life safety pub ed events. 3 of these were an arson investigation educational class at Bryant McMahon High School for approximately 75 students, which included live burn demonstrations with popsicle stick houses and ground meat people. A visit to the Norwalk Public Library with approximately 25 attendees for story time with Gizmo, and also Community Hero Day at Silvermine Elementary School with approximately 30 students. We had 33 fire and life safety inspections for a total of $1,942.50. 2 fire watch duties at 165 Water Street, NHRL, for the Robot League for $871.77. And we also reviewed 33 fire and life safety plans for a total of $1,712.50. Total income for the month of January was $4,526.77. During this month, the Fire Marshal's Office had a total of 9 investigations. 7 of these were fires. 2 of them were code hazard related issues. Our 3 newly promoted deputy fire marshals completed a basic online course for fire and life safety plan review, and they are currently still maneuvering through our new software for code enforcement and inspections. Tomorrow, they will start the fire investigation portion at the State Fire Marshal's Office in Hartford. And that will wrap up my report for the month of January. If anybody has any questions, I'd feel free to answer them.
Questions, comments? I do see that you have a nice letter here of thanks for the, hold on, for one of the fires. The family's very grateful, family of Georgie Farrar. So that's very nice to have that.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Usually it's the opposite way.
Yes, isn't it?
Yes.
I do understand that. Yeah, so it's the acknowledgement is very nice.
That is. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks, Troy. All right, moving on to emergency management.
Good afternoon. It snowed a lot.
Mhm.
So we did have I lost track of how many snowstorms we've had over the past couple weeks. But each time we have refined some of the messaging, outreach, and different tools. I know we had the initial after action after one of the earlier storms. Um, the governor's cold weather protocol finally ended and was not extended. So I think for the most part that's done. I did reach out to Jen and Chief Walsh about that as well, if we want to make any announcements. And then we also had a conversation about um, warming and cooling centers, really how to proceed. Hopefully, once the South Norwalk Community Center comes on board, that could be a site. And then just really the relationships between some of the houses of worship and other city buildings, to again kind of refine messaging going forward with either warming centers or cooling centers in the year ahead. So we'll continue to always work with that. I did meet with the public schools about doing a tabletop event for their district and then down the road for all the building emergency teams in each of the schools. So we'll work on planning that central office first and then the schools a little bit later on. But they are on board and looking forward to that. And then also maybe figure out how to proceed with updating the safety guides for the city buildings. That probably is about 2 years since we've done any of the refresher training for city employees. So again, maybe after the budget season, as we get into the quieter spring, summer, we can revisit some of those city plans. And I think that's it. Any questions?
Thank you,
Just one.
Michelle. Any questions?
Just one basic question relevant to you. Said you get into the schools to discuss problems with the cold weather. Does that occur relevant to the conversation we had moments ago, relevant to the ice on ponds? You know, sometimes the voice of a 6 or 7-year-old will carry a lot of weight to keep mom and dad and or an older brother or sister off of a hazardous environment such as that. And the same thing, I was going to double that. In the fire department, I know you, most specifically, you address the fire issues, smoke with your vehicle that you transport, the visits you have to your schools. And I know for a fact that that visit to the schools does work, the way it contracts younger children. Do you mention during your discussions with the kids at the fire department level a scenario relevant to the ice?
Well, again, each of the schools have their own building safety teams. So the
Right.
relationships I usually have is with the central office and the two staff members that kind of oversee those individual school teams. So if there's messages we'd want to share, then again, those could be shared through their communications folks and then the school safety um, employees to pass down to the individual schools and then to the kids.
Excellent. In regard to housing, relevant to the cold weather for people that may not be able to get inside on their own, have we had anyone refuse that type of assistance per the activities that happened in New York City with a number of deaths associated with people that refuse to go into a warm environment?
Yeah, so I know there's ongoing outreach. There were a few folks at the PD community room that were using that site more frequently, especially during the daytime hours. And I know they always make the referrals. Um, but I think, like I said, Open Doors and some of the other programs do a lot of proactive outreach to their resident or to their clients. And I believe they also allow them to stay indoors during those coldest days.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. And one thing we will do, because we talked about, do we expand to additional warming centers or cooling centers in the summer? And really that idea of before we make any of those bigger decisions, try to ask the libraries and PD to track how many folks are coming in with questions on warming or kind of taking advantage of um, those resources. And then that should give us some better numbers so we can plan going forward with, do we expand? I know there's always the ongoing conversation that not all residents may feel comfortable going to a police department or even a municipal library or municipal building. So that's where some of the houses of worship could come in, and again, kind of cross posting when those are made available. And I think again, in this day and age, not everyone is going to be always feel comfortable going to like a city or municipal site. So we want to be, or we want to make sure we're mindful of some of those concerns and can also offer some opportunities.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. All right, moving on to training division report.
Good afternoon, everyone. So far, we've completed our SCBA training for our new SCBAs that are going to be put out to the department, hopefully by next month. We are in the process of fit testing our old masks just as a precaution until those do get put into our members' hands. So we're going to be continuing that for a little bit while longer. I only have a few more to go. The CPR recertification of the EMS refresher is almost complete. We have our last day on the 18th, Wednesday, tomorrow, to get the rest of the members that hadn't gotten CPR yet. And the refresher is complete on Friday, February 20th. So after that, if anybody had missed anything, they're going to allow them to make up their modules that they missed online, and they can get those done there. And then our EMS refresher for the year will be complete. Few of our members, 8 of them actually, just attended an SCBA maintenance class for Technician 1 level, so we can repair minor repairs for our SCBAs, the new ones that are coming in, and we don't have to send them out all the time for somebody else to do it. The only thing that we can't do is, which is a Technician level 2, is anything that has to be calibrated. So any type of issue with the regulators or anything that has to be calibrated, our Technician level won't cover that yet. But because of the equipment that's involved in Technician level 2, we figured we'd start with this and at least have a little bit of less maintenance being sent out to an outsourced party. So over the next couple of days, I'll be attending a public information officer class in Greenwich. We did have 2 members. I know it says 2 members there that were going to be going, but one had a family conflict, so I was unable to go. So I'm going to attend that, and I'm going to bring it back to all of our administration just to give us a better idea of how we can better relate to the public after incidents or in general. We still have ongoing driver training. Our standards are, 15 hours of driving in every position. So if you're driving the back of the fire ladder truck and you have your 15 hours, you still need 15 hours to drive the front. So that's why our driver training is pretty much ongoing year round. Every Saturday is driver training, and Sunday is driver training if necessary, if there are members who are still learning. So that's going to be an ongoing training for the foreseeable future anyway. I'm still working with the First Due program, trying to set up a better record keeping, especially with our training reports. When we switch softwares like that, it comes to us as basically a blank, just a blank document. So we have to kind of build it as we go. We have to build that database. So I'm still trying to tweak it a little bit and make it a little bit easier for our officers to track and get our records to come out. I'm working with Assistant Chief Conti with that, and hopefully we'll have better reports for you for our record keeping and training coming up in the next couple months or so. Upcoming training activities, we have hazmat refresher. Our hazardous materials refresher is going to be the beginning of March. It just one day rolls into that 3rd week just because of the way that schedule landed for that shift. So it's the 1st through the 16th. Engine 3 is going to start a pretty much their own training outline for their Marine division coming up, just with the nicer weather hopefully coming soon. They will be getting out on the water again and doing some training with plotting and charting, whether they're in the station or on the water. We have our promotional tests coming up in about a year is going to be our lieutenant's test. We're meeting with company coming up on Monday to talk to them about that, and talked with multiple companies, and we pretty much have it settled on this one, but we were going to talk to them Monday and make sure that that's the way we want to go. Still planning that live fire training for the fall. I've got 2 weeks scheduled for September, one in September, one in October. And now that they're both scheduled, I don't know if we'll use them both, but I wanted them both available just in case we needed to kind of change some stuff up. So now that the site is scheduled and we know that we have those weeks, I can actually start planning the rest of it around it and getting a lesson plan put together and things of that nature, so that when we go there, we're working on actual tasks and objectives and not just kind of flying by the seat of our pants when we arrive. So we'll be planning some instructors to come from within our department, having some instructors come to help me out with everything. Just NFPA requires you to have so many people at the site when you're doing a live burn. So somebody has to be in charge of lighting, the Class A fire, and somebody has to be in charge of maintaining it. It can't be the same person. There's a lot of little requirements. So I'm in the process now of choosing those people. And once we have that set up, we'll be going in the fall with that. But there's going to be a lot of stuff in between there now and then, and I'll let you know when those come up. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to take them.
Questions, anyone?
No questions, just a comment that, what the public sees of the Norwalk Fire Department is a reflection of the extensive and very detailed planning work that goes into putting these training activities for the men and women in the department. So congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Agree. Well done.
I'm speechless.
I did forget one thing. One community outreach that's coming up. It's not on the list because I just got the email last week. We're going to be participating in a trade day at Brian McMahon High School on March 11th. There's going to be a bunch of other people there, plumbers, electricians, Eversource, chefs. We're going to be there, police department's there. So we're going to be doing that from 8 a.m. to 11 on March 11th. If anybody wants to come by and maybe talk to the kids about some trades that you're familiar with, that'd be great. So that's just one more thing coming up.
That's fantastic. I'm really excited to hear about that.
That's a great
really
day.
important our kids hear the trades and jobs that are available to them that are great important jobs.
I did the one at Norwalk High School, and there were probably over 100 students that came. It was awesome. It was great.
Awesome. That's great. Glad to hear it. Thank you.
I participated in that one with PONUS, as well as McMahon each year with the bank. So I look forward to seeing you all there next month.
Cool.
Terrific. Okay, moving on to local 830 reports.
Hi, Madam Mayor. Excuse me, we don't have anything.
Okay, nothing to, oh, sorry, I missed that. But we do have some letters. I know I referred to one already. So moving on to correspondence.
Okay, Mayor, thank you. Yes, as you mentioned, we received a letter thanking Fire Marshal Donahue and the firefighters who responded to a stove fire in their home for the compassion, professionalism, and reassurance that they provided to the family. So we got that out to those folks, and we always appreciate such letters coming in after we do our work. The other two letters were thank yous from people who had heard about the Swan Rescue. One heard about it on the Canada Broadcasting Company, and the other read about the story in the Wall Street Journal. And they wrote to us to express their gratitude. And it just goes to show how far and wide the story spread beyond Norwalk. I also received many phone calls and hundreds of messages on social media to the same effect. So it's always nice to receive positive feedback from the public, and you never really know what type of story is going to take off. But that one certainly went far, and it was great to show that Norwalk firefighters are ready for any kind of call that may come in.
I think definitely people are longing for feel-good stories right now, and that certainly was one. So,
For sure.
although I did notice that the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation apparently reported the Connecticut River, but not the Norwalk. So, not quite, but I was actually just down at the site this morning for a press conference at Smith Street. So we were looking right at where you rescued the swan. So it's pretty great. Everyone's still talking about it.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, we have no other business. There's no personnel, no old or new business. And so I will take a motion to adjourn, please.
Make
So-
a motion.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, very good. Next meeting is Tuesday, March 17th, and we are adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all
everyone.
for your help.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks for keeping
Goodbye,
us safe.
thank you.